Hey guys, today we're going to look at compound shapes. So we're going to look at when you're putting more than one shape together and trying to find the area. We are going to go to the whole number for these, so you are going to see me rounding to the whole number. We're going to talk about how these shapes are broken up, how they look, and how we can work them out. Remember, area formulas for rectangle are base times height or length times width. Triangles are base times height divided by 2. Circle area formulas are what we're talking about, and we talked about last week. Remember, that is pi r squared. So we're going to look at these and we're going to break them down to make sure that we are able to solve them. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see. If you want to pause these as we go, so that way you can try them and then watch me work them out and make sure your answer is correct, that's perfect. So we're going to look at this. I have half a circle here, half a circle here. 2 halves of a circle make a whole circle. So if I didn't have this stuff in the middle, I would put these 2 together to make a whole circle. Then I have a rectangle. Rectangle, remember, is base times height. So when I look at this rectangle, I'm going to start there. I have, or length times width, so I have a measurement of 18 here. And then all the way for this side, half of it, I know for half of a circle it's 6. So this part is 6, this part is 6. 6 plus 6 makes 12. So this inside is 18 times 12, which gives me 216. For my circle formula, remember, that's 3.14 times radius squared. 3.14 times radius squared. So I have 3.14 times my radius is 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. When I multiply these together, I get 113.04. I would have this if I only had half of a circle because it's for a whole circle. But remember, I have this part and this part, which add together to make a whole circle together. So then I'm going to add these, 113.04 plus 216. Remember, I'm rounding to the nearest whole number, which gives me 329 inches squared. Area is squared. Again, number 2. I have half a circle and a triangle. Remember, triangle is base times height divided by 2. My base is 9. My height, well, this part is 3, and this part is 3. 3 plus 3 makes 6. So base times height, because I need the whole height, not just half, and divide by 2. 9 times 6 divided by 2 is 27. For my circle, I'm going to do 3.14 times my radius, which is 3, squared. But since I only have half a circle here, I've got to cut that in half. So I'm going to divide it by 2, because I want to cut it in half. So I'm going to do 3.14 times 3 squared is 9, and divide by 2, which is going to give me 14.13. I'm going to take 14.13 plus 27, rounding to the nearest whole number, I get 41 inches squared. Number 3. I have what appears to be a square here. If I break it up, square here, rectangle here. Square, 36 times 36. My rectangle here, remember base times height, so I'm going to do 72 times 18. 36 times 36 gives me 1,296. And then for my rectangle, I get 72 times 18, which is also 1,296. When I take 1,296 plus 1,296, I'm left with 2,592 inches squared. This one is just like number 2, so pause it and try it. If I look, I have a triangle here, which remember, base. Well, I only have it going halfway through my circle, so I know it's 8. Times my height, which is right here, which is 17. Remember, base and height can be found easily because you look for that 90-degree angle. Divide it by 2 because it's a triangle, which gives me 68. For my circle, I'm going to do 3.14 times my radius, which is 8, squared. I only have half a circle though, so remember, I have to cut it in half, so I'm going to divide by 2, which is going to give me 100.48. I'm going to add that with my 68, which gives me 168 inches squared. Let's look at number 5. Number 5, I'm going to break it up right here. But remember, you could break it up here as well and have a small rectangle and a large rectangle. You just got to be careful what numbers you use when you break it up. So here I have base and height, 14 times 14, which is going to give me 196. Doing this larger one here, I'm going to do 16 times 17, which is going to give me 272. I'm going to add these two together. 272 plus 196 gives me 468 inches squared. Remember, you can always pause this video and try them first if it helps. Or use the slow-mo, just slow me down if I'm going too fast. Here, once again, I can break it. I'm going to break it up here, but if you want, you could break it up to this large rectangle and then this shape over here. So this is going to be 6 times 6, base times height, which is going to give me 36. This here is going to be 12 times 6, which is going to give me 72. 36 plus 72 is going to give me 108 inches squared. Last 3 that we're going to look at. This shape right here, I'm going to break it up this direction, which is going to leave me with a triangle and a rectangle. The rectangle, base times height, is 20 times 7, which is going to give me 140. For my triangle, now, got to be careful, this on the outside shows me basically the height of my triangle. They just put it on the outside of my triangle instead of the in. So this is still making that 90 degrees, so there's where my base and my height are, just on the outside of my triangle, and that's okay. So base, all we know is right here, because these two are parallel lines, so I'm going to do 20 times my height, which is 13, and divide it by 2, and I'm left with 130. So 130 plus 140 gives me 270 inches squared. Look at number 8. Once again, I have a rectangle and a square. By breaking it up here, 60 times 60 gives me 3,600. 100 times 60 gives me 6,000. When I add those together, I'm left with 9,600 inches squared. Pause this, try this last one. Last one, try it. So when you look at it, you have your base of your rectangle times your height. This is your height. Half of it is 2, the other half is 2, because they're both radiuses. When you put them together, you get 4. 5 times 4 is 20. For my circle, I'm going to do 3.14 times my radius, which is 2, squared. Since I only have half of a circle, I got to cut it in half, so I'm going to divide by 2, which is going to give me 6.28. So I'm going to do 20 plus 6.28, round to the nearest whole number, is 26 inches squared. Hopefully this helps you look at and break down your compound shapes. Remember, there are multiple different ways you can break these down, but you want to use shapes we've talked about and we know. You wouldn't want to cut this in half this direction, because then that breaks down even more of your shape. You could break this down by putting a line here to have a small rectangle and a large, but then you'd also have to break it down here. So look at your shapes before you start working on them and make sure you pick out the best one for the formulas we've talked about. Hopefully this helps. I'll see you next time.